Hello everyone, welcome to Candy's Homestead. I'm Donna. I got a big job ahead of me today and I'm going to take y'all along with me. But before we get out there, I want to show you something that I just got. Looky here, I got a new mower. I've been using this push mower right here, but I did a video recently showing that every time I use it, I have to work on it, which is about every 2 weeks. I have to pull the carburetor off and work on it. And that is because of a faulty little fuel module, faulty design in my opinion. But anyways, I have to work on it about every 2 weeks. And given the fact that it's hard for me to bend over and, my knee problem, my husband got kind of aggravated with me having to work on it. Now, of course, he would work on it if he was here, but every time I need it, he's not here. And he says, well, I'll do it for you, but I can't wait until the end of the evening. When I need to use it, I need to use it. I'm not that kind of person that will wait. And so I always end up working on it. Well, he got frustrated with me having to bend down, bend my knees, and was concerned about, me putting more stress on my knees. And he said, enough is enough. And he went and bought me this little electric mower. It's a 21-inch. It's self-propelled. It has a lot of power. I really was against getting an electric one. I told him I didn't want one, but when he went shopping, everyone that was within our budget had the same engine on that, like that one, and we said no, not going to go that route again. And given the fact that it is small areas that I have to mow, I don't need the battery to last a long time. Supposedly, the battery is 70 minutes. It takes me about 15 minutes to do what I need to do with the push mower. I have this small area right back here. It's not very big. That I could use the weed eater for, but there's an area behind my pool that is about 3 times that amount right there that's too small to get the riding mower in, and it's just too much for me to use the weed eater on. And the grass back there is so thick, so I do need a mower for just 15 minutes every 2 weeks. And so he thought this was a good option. It turns out I actually like it. It has a lot of power. It has a bag on it. It also came with a mulcher. The battery takes, so far it's only took about an hour to charge, but I don't think that it was run down completely. This is the battery. I'm sure that's going to be a high dollar item when it goes bad, and eventually they do. But it's so lightweight, and the thing about it, it folds up and will stand up on its, I think it's the rear end, I haven't done it yet, and store in the corner somewhere. So this is supposed to make my life a little easier when I have to do those small areas of mowing. So anyways, I wanted to share that. It's very quiet and I like it, and even though I was opposed to it, I actually do like it. Okay, on to the bigger job. Alright, here we are where I'm going to be doing work all day, if not several days, because I just don't think that I can get it all done in one day. This I have shown before. This is my back garden, and I don't have a whole lot back here. I've got a lot of potted plants. Over here is one fig tree. There's a little fig tree right there in the yellow bucket. There's a white rose right there. In the middle where the garden box is, that's where my peppers are. I've got, I can't think. I've got 2 tomatoes. The beefsteak tomatoes are there on a trellis. I'm pointing in the wrong direction. It's right there. And then I've got petunias in this big black bucket here. Under this arch, I've got turmeric, a pot of petunias and some yellow roses. The last of the green beans, which I'm gonna pull those out. I pulled out the green beans in the front garden, and over to the side is some red peachy colored roses and some very tired miniature zinnias. There's my strawberry pots down the strawberry row, and I've got a few more plants going down the side and some hanging baskets. This garden last year was absolutely beautiful. I've only been using the extreme front half right here because some things happened. But I'm going to go back there and I'm going to start cleaning the back end. So I'm going to start with some repeated information, and that's for people who may join the video who have not seen previous videos. Back in the early summer, I started planting back here, but I realized that a bunch of my wooden boxes were deteriorating really bad. So my husband bought me 3 metal beds, raised beds, to replace a few of the wooden beds. I got one bed done, and I didn't get any further than that because I started having extreme problems with my legs and my knees. Now, those that have followed along, I'm sure you're tired of hearing about my knees, and I'm tired of talking about my knees, but there might be somebody who's tuning in who don't know the history. So anyways, the knee problem started, and it got to be so excruciating I couldn't get out here and tend to things. And everybody knows who gardens that if you blink for even a short period of time, weeds will happen, things grow up, and gets out of control. I blinked for longer than a minute. It was pretty much the whole, from late spring until just recently, a month now maybe. And I was able to get my legs back. I've been in physical therapy since February, and I'm still in physical therapy. But I also had some cortisone shots that helped, and that, between that and physical therapy, got me back up and going. I've only been going for, a few weeks to a month maybe, and I'm trying to play catch up. Well, in the meantime, this garden went downhill, and the weeds got taller than me, like horrible. And so the only food crop that I've got back here are 2 different types of peppers, my paprikas and pimentos. Well, I've got strawberries and a few green beans right here in this front tiny little box. It's just a few, but those are terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't like them. They're coming out just like the ones in the front. It was the wrong green beans that I planted. There is a pot of turmeric. If, we're going to consider all that food. The rest of everything back here, which I pulled forward so that I could access it, water it, and do some tending. The rest of it is all pots with flowers and things like that. Not a lot of food happened back here. I had no choice but to just, do minimal watering. That was it. And I haven't been able to get to it to clean it up. Well, now it's time to pay for all that downtime, because this garden has got to get back into shape. I want to use it again. I want to put up my new garden boxes. I have 2 left, and we have intentions of buying more. There's, if I can think, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 garden boxes that are 3 feet high, 8 feet long. One of them, I believe, is 10 feet. They're buried. They're gone, disappeared. I can't see them, but I know that they're there. They're not useful because all the wood has been decaying. We built them with wood off of the property that we milled, and that's been many years now, and all that wood, it doesn't last long when it's not treated, well, even treated doesn't last long anymore, but it was raw wood that we used and milled, and that's not going to last but so long, which is why we decided to start replacing a few at a time with the metal beds. So I've not had, even if there was no weeds at all, I would not have been able to plant in those beds. They were too far gone, and fronts were falling off, sides were falling off. It was terrible. So today I am going to go back there and start working on it, and it's going to be a horrific job. Now, I got my tool trailer here, and I have brought out everything I can imagine that I might need. Once I weed, I'm going to use the weed eater. I've brought out 2 weed eaters to use. Once I get some of it weeded down, I can't even pull the wood off of the boxes, the ones that haven't fell off, and there's a good bit. They're too heavy, so I'm going to have to take the chainsaw and I'm going to have to cut that wood up to put it on the tractor. So I brought out my chainsaw. I brought out a basket full of batteries because I know I'm going to go through batteries with the weed eater. I've got me lots to drink, ice. I brought me a rag, a clean rag, a new rag, to keep myself washed up. I know I'm going to get nasty. I like to keep a wet rag, a damp rag around my neck when I'm working a lot. It helps keep me cool. I've got 2 neck fans. I got my radio. I got shovels, loppers, pruners, all that kind of stuff. The first thing that I'm going to do, I think, is really super low cut. I'm going to pretty much scalp the yard on that end over there, because there's things I'm going to have to pull out and lay on the ground, and I don't know how quick I'll be able to get those things up, so I don't want to have the grass growing up in that stuff laying on the ground. So I'm going to cut that grass down really short and buy me some time. The last time I did that, I did it at the chicken coop, and I brought things out, laid it on the ground. It took me a couple of weeks. Weeds grew up around that, so I don't want that to happen here. And that area is so bad with mosquitoes. I went out this morning to kind of examine, what I've got to do, and the mosquitoes were just all over me like crazy. And it's because our woods way back there's an area that's kind of swampy, and well, mosquitoes are bad all the time here, but they're super bad right now because we've a few weeks ago came out from under a tropical storm, which we always have a blossom of new mosquitoes after storms. We had a lot of rain before, we had a lot of rain after that storm, and it's just been the perfect storm for mosquitoes like crazy, like dinosaur-sized mosquitoes. So I have a fogger to fog the area to try to cut down on some of the mosquitoes. It helps, but it's not 100%. And I don't like spraying that spray, but I'm at a point where I don't have a choice. If I'm going to be able to work out here, I cannot get carted off by mosquitoes. So I'm going to spray that area, and I'm going to take y'all back there. Please don't judge me. We all end up with messes we have to clean up, I know. It's just the circumstances that happened to me. I regret it, and now I'm going to pay for it, and I've got to put in the labor, the blood, sweat, and tears to get it back to where it's supposed to be, back to where I normally have it. Like I said, it used to be beautiful. This whole year, there's been circumstances that has kept me from gardening like I normally would. I can't do anything about it except pull myself up and start taking care of it. I wish y'all were here to help. I could use the help. I'm glad you're here to watch, but man, it's easier if you got help instead of spectators. But anyways, I hope you enjoy the video. I don't know how enjoyable it is watching somebody clean up a mess, but that's all I'm going to do is clean up a mess. I'm going to start on it. It might take me 3 forevers to get it done. I don't know. So let me go over there and show y'all just how bad it is. Oh. As I just showed you, this up in here is the immediate front, which is where I have been keeping myself in this garden. All right, let's go back. This is the first bed that I need to tackle. I can get my tractor in here and tear this one apart. Here's the stuff I've been kind of sort of taking care of. OMG. Do y'all see this? This is not just a mess. It's like a OMG mess. You know, we're supposed to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Back here, it's just bad and ugly. There's no good. I have done harder stuff in my life, I do believe. But this one is right up there. This was my best box right here. It no longer is, but there's one box here. This one. There's a box here that has the cattle panel going over, connecting the two. And then there are 3 boxes back here. In the far back where the really tall stuff is, that is a 10-foot box, I think. And then 2 8-foot boxes. One is right here under all of this, and one is back there in the far back where that pole is sticking up. That pole is in the middle of the box. OMG HIJ. Okay. I guess I just need to get started. So there's things over here that I need to pull out. There's a couple of pallets. There's, you know, stuff I'm gonna pull out and set out here on the ground. So I'm gonna really low cut this grass so that I can afford for it to sit there for a little while. But I also don't want to use up so much space over there that I can't get the tractor in here. I can't use the tractor until I'm ready to pull the boards. I'll pull the boards and throw them on the tractor and take them to the burn pile, and then I'll use the tractor to scrape out all the soil that is in all of these boxes. So here we go. This thing does not appear to be working very well, so I'll have to mess with this later and just make do out here in spite of it. I'm having to move a lot of stuff that was against this box over here. I just moved 2 cattle panels by myself. That was a lot of fun. And now I've got this big long rack here that I've got to move. I did stop for a few minutes and watered everything out here that is growing and not dying. So now I'm going to move these panels. There's some panels on the ground here. Now this bed right here is almost done, and it wasn't as bad as it looked. It was very, very thick in weeds, but I pulled them by hand. I have a few more to pull in this back corner. They actually were pretty shallow, so it wasn't hard to get them up. I need this soil. This is pretty good soil. I need it in my boxes in the front, but I did notice when I was pulling all the weeds, there's a lot of weed seed. There's a lot of weed seed in this stuff, and as I'm pulling, of course, all those seeds are falling off into that soil. So I don't want to put that in my garden boxes just like it is. When I get the tractor and scoop this dirt, I will scoop a bucket level and scoop down, scoop the top off, and then where I put this soil, I'll cover it up with cardboard in my front garden boxes. But I sure don't want to be, got a weed seed in my mouth. I sure don't want to be growing that in my front gardens. But like I said, it is pretty good soil, so I'm going to scrape down and take a different layer. And all of this will go in my compost pile. And in an attempt to kill those weed seeds, I will end up covering that pile and creating a lot of heat to try to kill those weed seeds. I'm not going to waste that soil, but I don't want to grow weeds either. And I have a lot of weeds that's growing around the outer edge of my compost pile. I don't know if I'll just weed eat that or burn it, but I can't really use any of that soil right now because it does have a lot of grass in it. So I'll just add to it and put a tarp over it and let that heat up. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'll let it sit there until it looks like everything is dead. I know today is a hot one. We're supposed to get to 94. It feels like 104 anyways, but that's the only thing I know to do with this soil. And I cannot start a new pile anywhere, which is what I would like to do. I have in the past had 2 and 3 piles going at one time of compost. And you know, one pile would be a new in the beginning stages, and then the second pile would be like in the middle stages, and the third pile would be almost done or done. I really don't have the space right now to do that, because in order to turn it like I like to do, I need a lot of space around it to get the tractor around it to be able to flip it. So I'm just going to add it to the existing compost, which is completed and it's ready to use if it weren't for all those weeds around the outside perimeter, and there's some in the middle too, but the compost itself is done. I'm gonna get these last few weeds out of here, and then this box is done. You know, now that I'm looking at it, this box is not in the worst condition. I might have one more year on it. I'm gonna think about keeping that one and not tearing it down just yet. I gotta go get my tractor. I figure I'll use the tractor to put all of the weeds that I pull out and use it to haul over to the burn pile. I guess I'll start working my way that way with the weed eater. I got those weed seeds all over me. Man, those things itch. I think I did not mention, but I'm having to be really careful with the weed eating because this fabric, the ground fabric I have here, goes all the way out to the end and beyond. And I really don't want to cut this fabric up. So I'm having to be really careful on top of the fabric. I'm going to weed it down to where I can get my hands on it, and then maybe I can pull it through the fabric. If it won't pull through the fabric, I might have to take extreme measures in getting rid of those weeds. I need a break. Well, guys, I've made some progress. I've been at this for a few hours. It's 94 degrees out here, and I know that I'm not going to be able to get it all done today. I'm often trying to build Rome in a day, but I know this is not going to happen in a day. I'm going to have to do this in stages and keep up the progress on videos, but I have made a lot of progress. And what I'm going to do is show you what I have done, And then I'm going to pack up all my mess and I'm going to go get in the pool. I have managed to reveal 3 boxes. There's 1, 2, and a third one back there. And this is a pile of sand / clay mixture that was in a box. So I've got that revealed, and I tore the boards away from that and threw them away. And this box right here, I left that in there because I'm going to have to carefully hand pull everything out of that box, because, well, I was hand pulling. I hand pulled all these boxes and I used the weed eater on the ground. But I started seeing some live strawberry plants and I'd like to try to transplant them. I don't know if there, I moved you over here so you can see. I don't know if they will survive transplanting, but I'm going to try. I have nothing to lose. If you look in here, there's strawberry plants in here and they're a good size, and I don't want to destroy those hand pulling the way that I was. I mean, I was just grabbing weeds by the handful. I got that box there cleaned out real clean. This one is semi-clean. Well, I mean, there's still a lot of grass in it, of course. This one has still got some in there, but I hand pulled all of that. Let me pull this back a little bit. So that's where I started, right there. And all this grass in the middle was taller than me, the majority of it. And I killed the batteries on 2 weed eaters, 4 batteries actually I killed. And then I ended up moving to the big gas-powered push weed eater. That was some tough stuff in there. And all of that in the back is going to be real tough. There's a mixture of weeds I've never even seen and don't recognize. But this is several hours out here in the heat in the 90s, and I'm just tired. I've run out of steam and I've run out of battery power, so I'm gonna call it a day. But I do feel like I've made progress. Now what I'll do tomorrow is finish getting that box right there cleaned out and transplant the strawberry plants, and then I'll take the tractor and pull the boards off. Those are not too long. I can haul those on the tractor without having to cut them. And then that box behind it there, those are short boards as well. I'll be able to haul those without having to cut those. And then the last thing that I did is, let me pull this up. Back there is my compost pile, and it had a lot of weeds around the outer perimeter of it. I weeded that. I am going to take the tractor before I call it quits, and I'm going to flip that dirt. That's what I do. It has completely broken down into just soil. I'm going to flip that, and when I'm doing things timely like I should be, I'm coming out here every week with the tractor and turning that, and it breaks down super fast. But I'm going to be putting all this soil out of these boxes over there, and of course they're going to be filled with weed seeds, etc. So to speed up the composting and breaking it down, and hopefully to kill the weed seeds, like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, I will end up covering that with a tarp and let it just heat up and bake under there and try to kill those seeds. So that is the progress for today. I'm gonna turn that pile over there, and then I'm gonna go jump in the pool. I might even do it with the clothes that I'm wearing, because I don't care. And I'm gonna go cool off and give myself a break. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to injure my knees, and I'm just tired. I hope y'all liked the video. I hope that you're willing to follow me along with the progress that I do. I'm going to try to do something out here every day until I get it all complete and all the boxes gone, and the soil fabric that's on the ground, get that cleaned up so that I have a clean slate to work with back here. Once I get a clean slate to work with, I've got 2 more of the metal raised beds that I'll be putting up back here. And in the meantime, I'm going to think about this first box right here that has not fallen apart as to whether I'm going to keep it. I believe it has another year on its life. I'm going to think about that. I'm not going to make any hasty decisions. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're a first-time viewer, I hope you'll subscribe. If you are a subscriber, I thank you very much for staying with me and continuing to follow my videos. Whatever is left of your day, I hope it is wonderful. I will see y'all on the next video. Bye-bye.